Okay, let's talk about some of the challenges of symbolizing data. The data in this example is from the Utah Mapping Portal. It's power plants in Utah that are being monitored for different emissions, in this case CO2. In the attribute table we have things like the name of the plant, the type of energy that's being generated, CO2 emissions. We could Google what the difference is here, but for our purposes we'll just use the first column, and then what fuel type it is. So there are options for symbolizing the CO2 emissions, and I'm going to do this a little bit differently than the assignment to show a couple of different things, but the emissions are a ranked numeric value. It's sequential. And so we want to put some kind of a graduated color or symbol size on this. What if we wanted to also symbolize what kind of fuel was being consumed at the plant? This would be a categorical, so we would use a unique value kind of symbology for this. So let's take a look at that. Let's start with that categorical data, and we'll use color for that because we wouldn't vary the size of the symbol to reflect the type of plant it was. So to reflect the type of plant, let's choose unique values, and the first thing you have to do is tell Arc what field you want to be symbolizing, and we'll use the specific fuel type. We can mess around with the colors a little bit, and you can kind of click to reset, and it'll kind of scramble the colors for you. I'm going to format all the symbols and bump the symbol size up a little bit, just so we can see them a little bit better. And I'm going to reduce the width of the outline just to make them a little bit cleaner. The colors are randomly generated. I'm just going to click this again and see if we can get them to redraw. Okay, pink for natural gas doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we can go in, remember, and change these. And I'm going to draw attention to coal. Change this to something a little bit more attention grabbing. Okay, so these are our coal plants down here, and we could go through and manually adjust all the colors, but let's leave it there. And now we want to reflect the CO2 emissions in the size of the symbol. So we're going to keep the colors, but we're going to add a second attribute. So we're going to vary the symbology by attribute and change the size. And again, we have to prompt it to choose the numeric field that we want to symbolize it by. And it kind of blows up like this. So the important thing to know is in honest data visualization, the symbol sizes need to reflect proportionally the values that they're representing. And I could zoom out, but I'm never really going to be able to see this symbol because of the range of values. So the range of values for the CO2 range from around 100, and I can't remember the units off the top of my head, but up to about 16 million, which means the biggest symbols would have to be, like 100,000 times bigger than our smallest symbols. That's the honest way to portray this data. But Arc gives us the option to enable a size range that allows the symbols to draw on the map. So this symbol is not 100,000 times bigger in area than our smallest symbol, but it does draw in a reasonable way. So if we wanted to convey the true difference between our lowest emitters and our highest emitters, we'd have to normalize this data somehow or come up with a different method besides graduated symbology. So that's just a little tangent on data viz. So we are enabling to blow a size range in here. We could, we could alter these a little bit, but this looks okay. And it indicates that our coal plants are the ones that are emitting, the highest levels of CO2 in the state, which is not completely unexpected. But that's how you can combine and vary a symbology, the symbology of the points with two different attributes. Now, the last thing I'd like you to keep in mind is the contrast with the base map. So I'm going to reset this where we are symbolizing using graduated color instead of symbolizing the plant type. Okay, so I've applied a graduated color to the CO2 emissions, and you can see that we are displaying our lowest emissions in the lighter color and the highest emissions in the dark color. And because of the dark base map, the contrast doesn't allow these darker points to pop. So we could change this by just altering this color and making it a more vibrant red. But the contrast is still going to draw our eye to the higher contrast, I guess, to the lower emitters. So you might consider changing the base map to the light gray base map. You could reverse the color scheme and force the eye to be drawn to the higher contrast working the other way. But that might be a little bit counterintuitive to have kind of the brown, yucky colors symbolizing the lower emitters. But you can see that your eye does go to the higher contrast, which are the higher emitters. So this is something that you need to wrangle. It's something that you need to you need your symbology to agree with the base map choice. And so using vibrant colors is one way to create contrast, but just light on dark or dark on light is another way to create contrast. Just try and make it as intuitive for your reader as possible.